talk with you about blockchain, and I was glad that you got interested the last time we talked, and we have now a few hours to follow up, a session now and a session in a week. And I'd like to welcome 4 students here who you will all get a chance to interact with. Adam, Divya, Mark, and Marcello, who were in a class that I taught and that we developed our own group understanding of blockchain together in early 2020, just before the pandemic hit. I think we were all in person until the last meeting of the class, which we had to do on Zoom. So I was really pleased to meet them all for at a cafe a week or so ago and talk about doing this together with them. And I'm sure they're happy to be here. And let's hear a little bit from each of the groups about what were the topics that came up, and what do you think is of biggest interest to the people who were not in your group? Adam, do you want to start? Or
sure. I think people were interested in definitely like the longevity of the blockchain, and like also like the volatility of its value. And you can compare that or contrast that with like a stable coin, which is a piece that's stable, and how those two kind of interact with each other. What else do we talk about? I think that's all for now. I'll keep thinking.
Oh, great. All right. And so I think if we think about these main properties, so decentralized, I think it makes sense. Why would you want the financial system decentralized? I think that makes sense. So the everyone has a chance to exchange money without having to have that approved, by a central bank. It gives everyone autonomy. If every financial transaction had to go to some, world banking center, that would keep people from being able to buy and sell things that they wanted. Trusted, clearly, you'd like to be able to trust the monetary system. It doesn't sound like we got into smart contracts and how they work financially, but that seems, there's a lot that can be done there. Did anyone ask about privacy or anything like that? Or I guess that could come, it's a secondary issue there. Anyone from one of the breakout groups in finance want to say a little bit more about what was interesting in the discussion you had? Why don't we go around the topics then? Yeah, sure.
I was in a finance breakout room at the second time. Like I felt that the thing which is under loan which is under loan is very much interesting, because the person who is gonna lend a money, gonna give a Bitcoin, and he used to get a money from a lender. So that was really interesting in my part of view, sir.
Yeah, good. So you could have different kinds of contracts. Like a loan is really a contract that says, I'll give you money now, and then you give me these different payments over time to pay back the loan. So that could be written as a program. The program is, I transfer money to your account now, and then the program automatically makes transfers from your account to my account every year until the loan, or every month until the loan is paid back. So that's an interesting example of a smart contract, and something that can be programmed to be reliable in a blockchain setting.
Yeah.
That's a good
Actually,
example.
I was part of the finance group in the first time. Actually, how do you tackle the problem of tax? How are we paying the tax to the government if it is not centralized?
Therein lies one of the important issues here. So I worked for a year and a half with the Facebook group to create a global digital currency, and they have received massive amounts of complaints and scrutiny and objections from government around all kinds of issues like that. And so I think we should just leave that for now as a problem. I mean, there's, some people would like to, if you make a cash transaction, there is no way for the government really to monitor that and make sure you pay tax. And to some extent, there are people who believe that we should have blockchain systems that are also don't give the government a good way to collect tax. And so it's really the technology lets you set things up in different ways. And you could set it up so there's automatic tax collection, or you could set it up so there's not. Let's go into healthcare next. Do you want to say a little bit about what came up and what are some issues that came up there?
Yeah, so we discussed several interesting applications in healthcare, specifically also for clinical trials, and people were very interested to see how this would impact clinical trial outcomes long term, as well as the security and complexity trade-offs of doing something like this. So a lot of emphasis on privacy and patient data ownership.
So what would you summarize as the big advantage of using a blockchain, introducing that into the healthcare system compared to the way things work now?
Yeah, it reduces a lot of friction about information exchange. So we talked about several of the information exchanges that are happening right now in healthcare and clinical trials, and how moving data to the blockchain will help alleviate some of those frictions.
So is that basically a decentralized versus centralized? I think for things like electronic health records, sharing them, some hospital has to own the health record, and what's their incentive to share it? Whereas if you have this decentralized system, it's easier to keep the records and have them available. That's very much like the situation in education and why that's a popular topic.